It may seem like we're a long way off of Lorwyn Eclipsed, but still, players need to get ready. Being prepared can save you a lot of money in the world of Magic the Gathering. I'm MTG Moxman, and thank you again for tuning in for another video today. We're talking Lorwyn Eclipsed. Even though we've just got Avatar coming around the bend, people are getting prepped up and ready for what Lorwyn is about to bring to them. Now, when we're looking at a set that is going to be not only new in terms of players understanding a brand new, landscape of Lorwyn because they've probably never been there in the last decade, but you also get to touch base with nostalgic players who did experience, being there at that time for Lorwyn, for Morningtide, Shadowmoor. Come on, a crazy time in the world of Magic the Gathering, a well-received block at that time that a lot of players are just itching to go back to. We also have to realize that when we're talking about in-house IPs, this is one of the big ones that players have been just, harking for forever, it seems. And now we are going back. Now that means there's a lot of steps to take to be prepared for what's about to happen, because it's going to go a couple of ways and it depends on where you are. Now, if we're looking at Lorwyn as a set, these boxes are hard to find. Lorwyn, Morningtide, Shadowmoor, they're expensive, they're old. Players who remember them have already, thought about this. Should I go buy an old box? Players who want the singles of those sets have already looked to see which cards are going to synergize into a new commander deck. This has been covered in some of my previous videos, and players are well aware of bigger channels that cover gameplay, and they're getting ready for this moment because there are going to be card spikes in the singles market. There's going to be sealed product selling out. You're not going to be able to find any. And that means being prepped up. If you're one of those players who is impatient, you better get in line quick. And if you're one of those players who is patient, you might come out on top depending on where you are in the market. Now, if we took a look at what was going on inside of TCG Player, you can see the sales are steady, but not panic yet. When we look at those sales in the $470 mark, I also want to make a note. When you look at the $470 plus mark for those products, collector boxes, sealed, it's a lot less than a Universes Beyond, but it's not really, is it? We can say it's a lot less because it's $80, $90 less than, say, Avatar. But at the same time, weren't these boxes cheaper in days gone by? Didn't we used to get these boxes for around the $300, $350 mark? And it wasn't that long ago. So Wizards of the Coast, the people selling on pre-order, they are well aware of what they've got their hands on. If we go and look at the local level, now this is in Canada, and this box is $699 per box, okay? That makes it somewhere around the $550 mark US to get this box. That's already a lot higher than what I just showed you on TCG Player. And a lot of you wouldn't be surprised. Canada has import fees and taxes and other things associated with that box. But if I jump over and I showed you another place that has it for $549, let's go back, $699, $549. Well, that's a $150 difference, and those two stores are only about 10 kilometers apart here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That puts that $549 box somewhere in the $450 range when you're looking at US pricing. Now, of course, I could go on and show you all kinds of US stores, but let's jump over and take a look at the last store I want to share with you locally. This is 401, and they originally put these boxes up, and they only had 20 of them. I think it was 10 boxes. And they only put it for $419.95. That puts it at around $350 US, okay? That is a far cry from what I just shared with you looking at those numbers. When we look at that pricing, that tells you at $354, give or take a few dollars, US, that's the pricing that they were allocated. Because they wouldn't do this without, they're not going to lose money. They know how much the product costs. They want to judge how popular that product is going to be. So they put like a teaser amount of boxes up. Now, in the past, I've discussed this with people, and they say it's a way of checking out how many people are going to be trying to scalp the boxes and jump into this market and make it difficult. So when the next line of boxes comes out, probably in the next month or two, you'll start seeing those orders go back up for pre-order. When you see those pre-order prices, they are going to be radically different. They are going to be in the $600 range, maybe as low as $5 something, because that's what the other store, Harry Tarantula, had their stuff up for. But it's a lot different than what we just saw from a place like Face to Face that is charging $699 a box Canadian, or $550 US. These are radically different prices. The prices are not syncing up. Now, why is this happening? You would think it's because of this amazing thing where it's like, oh, it's going to be a really popular product. It's all part of a chain. When they share with us amazing cards inside the set, and you see Blitter Boom Bearer, right? And you see it's got a serialized version of this card that is going to entice people to want to buy this thing. They're like, oh, these people are going to be so excited to see this product. We can charge more money. This isn't coming from Wizards of the Coast. This is not coming from distribution. This is coming from that local level, because they believe they have the opportunity to make a few extra bucks because maybe they lost money on other products. I don't really know why they would do it, but I know there's a possibility. So I look over and you see guys like the Carrier, right, of Twilight. You look at the Carrier of Dawn. These are amazing cards. These ideas from looking at the block of Lorwyn is exactly what players are looking for. And let me reiterate that. It is exactly what players are looking for. So if you know that you've got a product that people want, cards inside they are going to desire, and you've done a testing of the waters and see the sales are looking strong, chances are you're going to raise your price. The price the market will bear before the sales taper off. This has been done universally for thousands of years. Supply and demand. Usually this has come at the cost of consumers backing away, and that will be no different. The difference will be for players out there is we are all well aware that this happens now, and it happens more often than we used to expect, but it does happen, and we recognize the tactics used. So players can now be better armed, better prepared for a really big set like this by understanding that if they don't buy, if they sit back, they're going to have the opportunity to buy those products later when the prices come down a bit, especially if a store goes deep buying those sealed products knowing it's going to sell well. At the same time, if you're a player who knows this is going to happen, you could have got in early and bought one of those teaser boxes at the $350 US level, and you're coming out ahead. And I'm sure in the comment sections, I'm going to see a whole array of stories of people telling me the deals they got at different levels. And I can't wait to see that stuff. You guys can't believe how important it is to name those things off so we can better understand as a community how the prices are going to affect us and what we should be looking for. Because as a Magic player myself, I love the game, but yes, I do hate the price route, generally how things have gone. But at the same time, I do say it's what the market will bear. You'll hear me say that all the time. If people are willing to pay it, then it's really not too expensive. But at the same time, we understand afterwards the prices really do tank a lot and we can make a lot of good deals, and that's because, well, a lot of boxes get opened, and if they don't get opened, the prices are different. We've seen that as well, so keep that in mind. But the excitement level for this thing is through the roof. I know this because I've been talking to people who are discussing it ahead of things like Avatar, ahead of Spider-Man. As soon as they saw the lineup, everyone's head turned that way and they went, oh. And then you announce The Hobbit that way and it's like, oh. People's excitement are keyed into very particular things. And when you hit a niche group that that they care about, they're going to dive on that. Lorwyn is one of those sets. When I know nostalgic players out there who are willing to spend some serious money to buy some collector boxes, to try to get a serialized card, but also to experience the sets all again. And that means I'm talking play booster boxes, because when you look at a collector box, that's going for the big money. That's going for the fancies. And there's going to be lots of players who love that stuff and try to get in on it. But when you're talking about players who want to experience what they did 10 years ago, they're going to buy those boxes. They're going to open them, crack them over the several weekends that follow, just to be able to experience it and play it. And in some cases, mix old cards with new, just to stick to a Lorwyn block, just to offer yourself some variation of gameplay in a fun atmosphere with friends. This is the experience of an in-house IP that players care about, that players love. We have lots of them out there. Wizards of the Coast, when they've tuned into these now, we saw what happened with Tarkir. We saw what happened with sets we love. And when you look back to those certain blocks, those certain planes of existence in Magic the Gathering, they are hitting the right chord. They are adding a certain power level that players can accept and even be really enthralled with. And it also affects the other formats by allowing those cards to exist and say, you can add this into your commander deck. This is going to, bling out that commander deck. It's going to be amazing. This set's really big, but I want players to be prepared for the idea of things selling out, for the things of being sold and gone before you ever have a chance when it comes to certain items like the collector box. I don't think the play booster boxes will sell out as quickly. I think the allocation numbers from people are pretty high on these, so I think they'll be around in most areas. Smaller towns, it's always a dice toss to see if you're going to have it or not have it after the pre-release weekend, because we've seen these things get bought out time and again. And depending on the community you're in, if there's players who've been around a long time and want this product, they're going to buy a box. This is one of those ones, yeah, it's going to happen. So, guys, keep it in mind. Tell me what you think about Lorwyn. Is this the set you're going for? Because I think it's going to be a big one this year, and I think a lot of players in January are looking forward to it. Thank you again for stopping by the channel. Don't forget, this weekend is my top 10. These are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering. The most sales calculated on these cards, and it's going to be here on the channel on Saturday, and of course the reserve list version on Sunday. Thanks again for hanging out with the Moxman. Remember, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Help us get to that goal of 50,000 subscribers. Guys, have a great one. Enjoy your day. Thanks again for stopping by the channel today. I hope you guys had a great time watching today's video. And a reminder, it's because of the patrons. The patrons and YouTube membership members of this channel supporting each and every day are allowing for this daily content to be created and consumed by everyone on YouTube. So thanks again out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, you're the serious ones. You're the ones who know to stick around for the little bit extra that I'm going to give you. This is the Ramble Jamble, the unedited version of stuff you might or might not want to know about. Number one, the reason I'm doing today's video is I know of several stores who are completely sold out. It happened suddenly, but it happened. These people that I talked to have informed me that some of the recent sets have not sold very well, and that has moved these players to wait for this set. And now, after seeing all the spoilers for things like Avatar, not that it's a bad set, a lot of these players are still buying singles or buying a box, but they've allocated extra money from Spider-Man into Lorwyn Eclipsed. And because the boxes are cheaper, completely sold out. Bigger stores, no problem so far. You can see the numbers I shared with you guys earlier. Some of these stores have 10, 15, 20, 50 units in for collector boxes. Now, this is where it gets a little bit even weirder. People sold out of play booster boxes. Now, the stores cut things off when they saw what was happening. Universally, by the way, and they stopped all the boxes from leaving because that would leave them with none. They blame part of that on their team for putting them all up on the website. I understand, but now they've corrected that, pulled some down, canceled a few things, explained to people, if we get more, if we can allocate more, we'll get it. But they're sold out, and they're keeping a couple of boxes for pre-releases, drafts, for prizes and stuff, as well as a box or two for the actual store. Right? This is crazy stuff. This is one of those ones I'm going, are we going crazy time? Are we going sold out Sin City type thing? Where the vices come to get us and everyone blows their money? Because it shouldn't be. I thought we had some breathing room on this one. But apparently, that is not the case. That is not the case. And the thing that gets me is some of these places are not that small. Some of these stores are larger. They order like multiple cases of this stuff. And it's going to be gone. It's gone. And then they asked if I wanted some, if I knew someone that had extra that they didn't think was going to sell. No, I don't. I think it's going to sell. And I think as it sells, some of these stores are going to jack up their prices to make sure they can keep it in stock and make a lot of money on the boxes they do sell, which is exactly what happened with Final Fantasy. Keep that in mind. Boomstick Edition! Ramble and the Jamble!